Israel's military escalation in Gaza has come as pressure grows on the government to secure the release of almost 240 hostages captured by Hamas. Among them, the German-Israeli national Shani Louk, who has been confirmed dead by Israel's foreign ministry in the last hour. She was among those kidnapped at a music festival on October the 7th when Hamas militants stormed across into Israeli territory. Shani Louk was last seen in a video where she appeared to be unconscious while being paraded through the streets of Gaza in a pickup truck. DW political correspondent Leonie von Hammerstein is following this story. Leonie, what more can you tell us about this?
Well, Ritters Louk first came out and talked to the German news agency DPA and told them that the Israeli military informed her late Monday night of her daughter's death. And you said it, the Israeli Foreign Ministry has now confirmed that. Ritters Louk also said that the body of her 22-year-old daughter has not been found yet, but that a splinter of her skull bone was located and that a DNA sample was taken from it and tested. And she also said that she believes that her daughter died on October 7th during the terror attack at the music festival in southern Israel, possibly by a shot in the head. And she was, you said it, one of those festival goers, an Israeli-German dual citizen who had been living in Tel Aviv. And for a long time, Shani Louk's family had assumed that she had been severely injured, but alive and in the Gaza Strip. And they had been publicly calling on the German government to fight for her release. And that time was running out. And when 4 other female hostages were relieved, this had given the family a little hope just a week ago. But this hope has now obviously been dashed by the news of her death.
Hamas is believed to be holding several other Germans hostage. What do we know about them and if they're still in Hamas's hands?
Well, we don't know much. You said that Israel's military says that almost 240 people were abducted by the Islamist militant group Hamas and brought to Gaza, and among those, several German citizens. The German citizen has said that a low 2-digit number of German-Israeli dual citizens are believed to be still held in Gaza. The relatives of those hostages have been calling on the German government to do more, and the news of Shani Louk's death are very likely going to increase that pressure.
DW political correspondent Leonie von Hammerstein, many thanks. Hamas militants massacred around a tenth of the population of one kibbutz in southern Israel. Those who remained have been evacuated to a resort on the Dead Sea. There, around 1,000 survivors try to find ways of dealing with their trauma, and in many cases, the loss of their loved ones. As DW's Rebecca Ritters reports from Ein Bokek.
Portraying the dead from a time before their world fell apart. Just one of the therapies helping these people process their trauma at this upscale resort on the Dead Sea. It's a place of relative safety in a country at war. Around 1,000 Israelis who escaped the massacre at Kibbutz Be'eri were evacuated here, where they'll live for at least the next few months and try to come to terms with what happened.
Yeah, in 6:30 in the morning, something like this, we heard a lot of bombs and we woke up.
Ella Ben-Ami recalls the moment the ordeal began. Her parents soon texted her from their home up the street. They were in hiding. Hamas gunmen killed more than 100 people in Be'eri that day. Ella feared her mum and dad were among them.
Something like an hour later, I saw a picture of them on Telegram with both terrorists they took them. It's not in Israel, I guess it's in Gaza.
2 weeks later, Ella found this video on Telegram showing her captured mother, filmed by Hamas. So, looking for clues of where they might have been taken, she and her sister went back to their childhood home.
Why? I can't even describe it. It was so hard. Even yesterday when I went to there. I couldn't step on the ground because on every piece of ground I saw bodies, and I couldn't think of of walking on that road.
Donations from across the country have been pouring in for people who escaped with only the clothes on their back.
They have to tell it over and over again.
Dina Draw is one of a team of psychotherapists stationed in the hotel to help them. She says the most important thing is to get people talking.
How they couldn't breathe, how they had no food, how they were worried, how they saw in the WhatsApp group that people are in danger, how they escaped, what did they see. They have to repeat it over and over until the story has a narrative. It has a beginning, middle, and an ending.
She says for Israelis, this was an event unlike anything in recent memory.
It's a collective grief. It's something we don't see usually in Israel. You have a terror attack and a soldier is dead, but here, because of the massive numbers, we have a collective grief. And it's also a strong thing of a community that they're going through it together.
Going through it together, but each alone in their pain.
There isn't a family that didn't lost someone. There isn't a family here. All the families lost someone. And even as a kibbutz, we are a big family together. And even I lost friends and neighbors, and everyone lost someone.
The 7th of October was traumatic for all Israelis. And even as the people from Be'eri try to heal, it's clear their trauma will be felt for generations.
One of the families torn apart by Hamas's attack on Kibbutz Be'eri is the family of Shaked Haran. Shaked's family home in Be'eri was found burned to the ground. As you can see here in footage she gave us, the whole family was missing. She says 11 members of her family were kidnapped at gunpoint by Hamas, including her parents, sister, brother-in-law, and their 3 young children, 2 aunts and an elderly uncle. 3 of her relatives and her uncle's caretaker have since been found dead. And Shaked believes the rest of the family are being held hostage in Gaza. Shaked Haran is with us now. She joins us from central Israel. Shaked, thank you so much for having the courage to share your story with us. You have given us permission to share a photo collage that shows your relatives, including those who are no longer with us. May I begin by asking when and how you learned of their deaths?
So after the massacre in the kibbutz and the attack of the terrorists, we didn't know anything. We had no information. And as the days passed by, we started collecting more and more pieces of information. And the first indication we had is that all the family has been kidnapped, including my father, my uncle, and my aunt, and my uncle's caretaker. But eventually, as the days passed, we received first the message that the caretaker of my uncle was murdered and recognized by his wife, who is 9 months pregnant. And after that, we received a message that my uncle was murdered. This was a week and a half ago. And that same day at night, we received a message about my father, that he was also murdered. And a few days after this, about my aunt. So they came very close. We were still mourning my father's death, and then we got the message about my aunt. And about the rest of the family members, we received we received official information that they were taken to Gaza alive.
Essentially, one surreal, heartbreaking moment after the next, one after the other. Let's be clear about this. What exactly do you know about the status of your other family members at this point? As far as you know, are they alive?
Anything.
Are they alive is what I'm asking, essentially.
What we know is that they were taken alive. We haven't received any further information. For what we know, Hamas has not passed any information about who it's holding hostage. There's no third party that received lists, or the Red Cross hasn't been allowed to get to the hostages, to get aid, to get humanitarian aid to the hostages. So Hamas is not releasing any information and not allowing any sort of assistance for the hostages.
Shaked, Israel's army says it has entered the next phase of the war and is increasing airstrikes and ground incursions. Does this fill you with hope or horror?
It's not a question that I feel I can answer. It's a strategic political question. Some say it's to get the hostages back. Others say it's not good. I don't know.
Shaked, it's a political question. There's no question about that. It is definitely a political question. But I think people watching you today will wonder how is she experiencing this? As political events unfold in real time, you must have personal feelings about this.
So I have to tell you that my personal feelings since day one are between horror and hope. And I don't think that this move or that move makes it any better. And I think that, I'm praying that my family will be brought back alive, and my baby niece and my nephew, and my cousin that are there. I think one of the channels that we are trying to work with is the international pressure on this spot, because we understand we're also working inside Israel, but we understand that Israel currently is in the midst of the war. And,
so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the international pressure. Hamas has released a small number of hostages, including U.S. citizens. Some of your missing relatives have Austrian, German, or Italian citizenship. Are you aware of any of those governments being involved in hostage negotiations?
So, we had official declarations of Germany that it is taking steps in order to care for the German citizens there. I don't know what this practically means behind the scenes, but officially Germany has said these are German citizens, and it will do whatever in the power to bring them back. But since then, we are already 23 days into this situation, and I can really honestly tell you that I fear that every day that goes by risks my family and risks the babies that are there, and the many women and many children that are held hostage. And that's why we really, really hope that these governments are doing whatever they can to bring these people back.
And I can seriously, honestly tell you that I cannot imagine what you're going through, and I think that I speak for hundreds of thousands of viewers who are feeling the same way. What's keeping you going?
The hope that I will get to meet my family, that I will hug my small niece, that we will meet them and say that we did everything in our power to bring them back. The hope that they are being treated in a humanitarian way. I have, and it's not all the time, because some of the time I'm in fear and terror of what they're going through, and I feel helpless, and I feel that there is not enough being done to bring them back, and that I'm failing them day after day, every day that passes and they are not here. I feel that I'm failing them, and I feel that this should be a concern of everyone right now to bring these people back. I think this type of terror is something that we cannot just go by every day like it's, a justified way of action.
Well, we will end it there, but your story and that of dozens of others continues. That is Shaked Haran. We thank you so very much for sharing your story and wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much.